Hello and welcome guys to a new episode on SportPredictorFanatic. Today we're going to predict the round 6 matchups that are going to be played in the Serie A this weekend. Of course, we're first going to start with predicting all the matches and then we're going to get into the betting part. So with that, let's just get into it. The first match that are going to be played between AC Milan and Lecce. AC Milan are on 8 points after 5 games and with that are shared 6th. AC Milan, of course, have won their last 2 Serie A games, but last week they also got a loss in the Champions League with 3-1 against Liverpool. Of course, last weekend made everything right for them as they won 2-1 against town and stadium rivals Inter Milan. Lecce are on 5 points after 5 games and with that are shared 14th. Lecce have drawn the last 2 Serie A games, with last weekend a 2-2 draw against Parma, which will feel a little bit as a loss to them, as they were 2-0 up in the 90th minute, but in the 93rd and the 95th, Parma scored their 2 goals. Earlier this week, Lecce lost in the cup against Sassuolo with 2-0. So they are not in the best form at the minute. Last season, AC Milan and Lecce played each other twice, with AC Milan winning at home, but then at Lecce's home it was a draw. The last time Lecce won this head-to-head was actually in 2006. Since then, 7 wins for AC Milan and 5 draws. And actually the last time Lecce won away at AC Milan was in 1997. I mean, that's really long ago, and I think with that said, and just the fact that AC Milan have the better form, have the better team, I think AC Milan will get the win right here. Then we have Udinese playing against Inter Milan. Udinese are on 10 points after 5 games, and with that are shared 2nd. Last weekend, Udinese got their first loss this season with 3-0 against AS Roma. But earlier this week they did well by coming back in the cup against Salernitana with 3-1. Inter are on 8 points after 5 games and with that are shared 6th. Inter last weekend, of course, as said, lost against AC Milan, their town and stadium rivals. But they're of course hoping to bounce back now, but it won't be easy, as Inter Milan and Udinese have played each other twice last season. With Inter winning both, I do think Inter have like the mental edge over them. But I think Udinese are in a better form. But I think Inter also have more class in the team. So because of that, I'm going to go for a win for Inter Milan. Then we have Genoa playing against Juventus. Genoa are on 5 points after 5 games and with that are shared 14th. Genoa last weekend lost 2-0 against Venezia and earlier this week also lost in the cup against Sampdoria on penalties. Juventus are on 9 points after 5 games and with that are shared 4th. Last weekend Juventus won their Champions League matchup against PSV, but also did lose the last weekend game against draw the last weekend game against Napoli. And just like the 2 matches before, it was a 0-0. So they're now on a streak of 3 0-0s in a row. Well, at least in the Serie A. With that, Juventus are still unbeaten though this season in the league. And they don't even I think they haven't even conceded goal in the league until now, maybe. But I think they haven't conceded yet this season in the Serie A. But the last 3 Serie A games they've played, also they of course haven't scored. Last season Juventus and Genoa played each other twice with actually both matches ending in a draw, exactly. But I think Juventus have the stronger team, have the better form at the minute, and because of that I think Juventus will get a win once again. Then it is Bologna playing against Atalanta. Bologna and Atalanta are both on 6 points after 5 matches and with that are shared 9th. Bologna last week drew in the Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk and last weekend won 2-1 against Monza. Atalanta last week drew in the Champions League against Arsenal, but then last weekend played against Como and lost 3-2. Bologna and Atalanta played each other twice last season with Bologna actually winning both matchups. And they even won the last matchup before that, so they've won the last 3 matchups. I think Atalanta do have the better team here, but the loss against Como might put in some doubts, but I still think Atalanta will get the W here. Then we have Torino playing against Lazio Roma. Torino are on 11 points after 5 games, and with that are surprisingly first. And of course unbeaten in the Serie A. Last weekend they won 3-2 against Verona, but earlier this week it went wrong in the Cup where they lost with 2-1 against Empoli. Lazio are on 7 points after 5 games and with that are 8th. Last weekend they also lost against Fiorentina with 2-1, but bounced back earlier this week with a 3-0 win in the Europa League over Dynamo Kiev. Last season, Torino and Lazio Roma played each other twice, with Lazio winning both matches. The last 5 matches between Torino and Lazio being played at the Torino Stadium have either been won by Lazio 3 times or have been a draw the other 2 times, of course. And I think Lazio do have the better team, but the form of Torino is actually quite frightening for them, I think. And also for me, basically. Because of that, I'm actually going to go for a draw right here. Then we have a Como playing against Verona. Como are on 5 points after 5 games and with that are shared 14th. Como last weekend, of course, did beat Atalanta with 3-2. Verona are on 6 points after 5 games and with that are shared 9th. Verona have lost the last 2 matches, with last weekend a 3-2 loss against Torino. The last time Verona and Como have played each other was in 2011, where it became a draw. I think Como and Verona are quite equal in teams, but I think the form of Como at the minute will actually get the W here. And then we have AS Roma playing against Venezia. AS Roma are on 6 points after 5 games and with that are shared 9th. AS Roma last weekend won against, of course, then number 1 Udinese with 3-0 and earlier this week drew in the Europa League against Athletic Bilbao with 1-1. Venezia are on 4 points after 5 games and with that are 18th. Last week, Venezia won their first match this season with a 2-0 win against Genoa. The last time Roma and Venezia faced each other was in 2022, where it ended in a draw. But I think AS Roma do have the better team here, have the way better form, and because of that will get the W. Then it is Empoli playing against Fiorentina. Empoli are on 9 points after 5 games and with that are shared 4th. Empoli last weekend won their match with 2-0 against Cagliari and earlier this week also winning the cup with 2-1 against Torino. With that, they are actually still unbeaten this season. Fiorentina are on 6 points after 5 games and with that are shared 9th. Fiorentina last weekend did get a win with 2-1 against Lazio. Last season, Empoli and Fiorentina played each other twice, with Empoli winning the away match and the other match ending in a draw. I think Empoli and Fiorentina, the teams are quite equal, but I think the form at the minute from Empoli is this good that they will get the win right here. Also, of course, playing at home. Then we have Napoli against Monza. Napoli are on 10 points after 5 matches and with that are shared 2nd. Napoli last weekend drew 0-0 against Juventus and earlier this week won in the cup against Palermo with 5-0. Monza are on 3 points after 5 games and with that are 19th. Monza last week lost 2-1 against Bologna, but earlier this week did win in the cup against Brescia with 3-1. Last season, Napoli and Monza played each other twice, with Napoli winning away, but at home it was a draw. Napoli and Monza have played each other 8 times in their history, with Monza winning 2, Napoli winning 3, and the other 3 ending in a draw. So to get a perfect record here, Monza, of course, have to win. But I think Napoli will get the win as their form at the minute is just better. And of course, they also have like a better quality of a squad. Then we have a Parma against Cagliari. Parma are on 5 points after 5 games and with that are shared 14th. Parma last weekend drew 2-2 against Lecce, where they came back from 2-0 down with goals in the 93rd and 95th minute. So it will kind of feel like a win for them. Well, Cagliari are only on 2 points after their 5 games and with that are lost in the Serie A. Cagliari lost last weekend against Empoli, but earlier this week did get a win in the cup against Cremonese. The last time Parma and Cagliari have played each other was in 2023, where it ended in a draw. I think both teams are quite equal, but Parma have looked like a little bit better, I think, until now. Like, they've looked alright pretty much all of their matches, so with that, I'm going to go for a win for Parma. And with that, we've predicted all the matches, so please let me know what you think of my predictions. But then, let's get into the betting part of the video. Because I'm going to be putting like a basic strategy betting for myself here. I'm going to be putting on 5 matches, but I'm going to be putting on the doubles and the trebles. The 5 matches are Atalanta to win their matchup, the odds for that is 2.46. Torino against Lazio to draw, the odds for that is 3.15. Como to win their matchup, the odds for that is 2.12. Empoli to win their matchup, the odds for that is actually 3.4, which I find like really high. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think it's high. And then Parma to win their matchup, the odds for that is 2.11. What I'm going to do is, as that basic strategy, use 50 cents, putting on the doubles and the trebles. In total, there will be €5 on the doubles, €5 on the trebles. And with that, of course, in total, €10. It's just a safe betting strategy. I like safe. So yeah, I'm going to go for this. So yeah, as that, please let me know what you think. But for now, I want to thank y'all for watching. Please have a good day and I will see you.